When Dubai Millennium died in 2001, it was hard to imagine that any of the small number of foals he left behind would carry on his line with much significance. But that is exactly what Dubawi has done. He was his sire's sole classic winner, and he's now compiled a formidable record of his own at stud, currently standing alongside 5 of his sons at Darley. As Dubawi turns 20, we had a chat with some of the team at Darley who've worked alongside him every step of the way.
It is absolutely no secret that all the experts, almost bar none, wrote Dubawi off in year 1 because all these foals were small set ponies and they didn't really walk and and they couldn't possibly be racehorses. History proves that to be entirely wrong, and it's obviously incredibly satisfying. The Dubawis come in all shapes and sizes, and that is a tremendous asset, both from a sales point of view and from a breeding point of view, because there is not a typical Dubawi. We want sons of Dubawi now to be successful, and the likes of Night of Thunder getting off to such an incredible start, and and Time Test and others, Zarak and others doing so well, is testimony to this horse that is Dubawi. And we are very fortunate that we've got horses like Gayeth and Space Blues and Too Darn Hot all coming through on the roster. The only thing you can see is what you can't see, and that's what's between their ears. And that is consistent with all of them. They just have these extraordinary temperaments. And if they go on passing that on, that's where it'll come from.
I think every breeder, agent and ourselves will be honest enough to say that we probably didn't see the success of Dubawi coming in those early days. Obviously he was a great racehorse by a fantastic stallion, so he had a special place in our hearts, I suppose, from the beginning. But I think it would be fair to say that people didn't necessarily take to his early progeny. I mean, everybody's seen him, and he is a little bit on the short side, a little bit dumpy, not the greatest walker, and I think initially that's what people thought about his yearlings, and I think right until they started running, and it was when they started running that people very quickly realised he was a special stallion.
Dubai Millennium came, he was a really high-profile horse for that time, and although he was just out of training, he was a great big massive horse. And one of the things I did think about him was, I've never seen a horse with such dark navy blue eyes as what he had. Again, coven-wise, when he came into the coven yard, he filled the whole door when he came in, and he'd start shouting in the main yard here, and he'd be still shouting when he got to the coven yard. And like father, like son, Dubawi was the very same. He was such a noisy horse coming towards the coven yard. He'll go down that barn roaring and shouting, whether it's at the 8 AM coven session or the 4th session at midnight. You'll hear him coming, If he was a human, he'd have the neighbours round knocking on his door. We never have any other problem with Dubawi unless it's his weight. We have him on shavings. He would eat everything in sight. He's on shavings. He gets fed a little and often. He'll get fed hay 3 times a day rather than give him it maybe twice, because he would eat a bale of hay in half an hour. So that's the only problem we have with Dubawi, keeping the weight off him.
Any of us who come to work in racing dream of working with the best horses. That's surely why we all start off. And so if you're lucky enough to end up with a horse like Dubawi that you see on a regular basis and you're involved with, one is we're so fortunate. I mean, that really is very, very lucky. And I stress that to the team the whole time, that this is not going to happen every day. Not everybody is lucky enough to do this. And so to be working with him is a real privilege. Dubawi is a fantastic figurehead to have at the top of the stallion roster that we are now very, very proud of.